It's time again for Legal Talk here on eRadio with Hahn Hahn Attorneys, and we're joined as always by Nirvana. She's joining us today. Nirvana Nothnagel from Hahn Hahn Attorneys. You know, we spoke about compulsory mediation on our poll last Friday, and we actually asked the question, are you aware of the compulsory mediation policy to be implemented in Johannesburg and Pretoria High Court? The majority said yes, 63%, and 27% said, or 37% said no, we don't know about this. I must be honest with you, Nirvana, I'm one of the 37% who said we aren't aware of it.
Well, I think that's probably because it doesn't really affect you here in Joburg and Pretoria, all the way there in Cape Town.
Okay, yes, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yes, welcome to Legal Talk, Nirvana. Why has the Office of the Judge President issued the mandatory mediation protocol?
The protocol has been implemented in order to ensure effective litigation services within reasonable timelines, and also to ensure that cases that generally deserve attention of a judge are able to timelessly be heard. So as it stands, we're currently looking at dates around 2028 due to the court being inundated with matters, and there's a belief that the majority of these cases on the civil trial roll are capable of resolution.
Okay, and what matters would this protocol be applied to, and also from which period?
So the mediation protocol will apply to civil trials, and it'll apply for the period commencing from the 1st of January 2027, as well as the transitional period from the issue of the directive, which is the 22nd of April 2025, until the 31st of December 2027.
And how would this protocol apply to matters where dates have already been allocated for a hearing?
So the civil trial dates for all categories of litigation set for hearing from 1 January 2027 will be withdrawn. And then all trial dates set down for 2025 shall remain intact, and all matters with trial dates allocated for 2026 shall provisionally remain on the roll, subject to a mediation report being presented to the court within 30 days of set down. And if same is not provided, then it'll be struck from the roll with no cost order. So, and a similar rule applies to the road accident fund matters. And then we can assume that if any dates have been allocated to 2028, that they will also be withdrawn.
All right, and what happens if a matter is settled or successfully mediated, resulting in settlement?
So the matter will then be placed on the settlement roll and will be on no more than 4 weeks' notice. So this results in a quicker turnaround time for matters to be heard.
All right, and then the final question today, Nirvana, what else should listeners know in respect of the mandatory mediation policy?
So in most cases of litigation, the attorneys in the matter on either side will attempt to settle the matter outside of courts. However, settlement is not always possible, and the same can be said for mediation. So an attempt to reach settlement between attorneys alone will not be sufficient. This means that if the mediation requirement will remain intact unless a settlement negotiation between the parties is successful and result in a settlement agreement. And should mediation be wholly successful, then this reduces the cost of further litigation going forward. Whilst if the mediation is partially successful, this would mean that there's resolution on certain issues while other issues still remain in dispute. This could ultimately reduce the cost of litigation and a number of days allocated for arguing at trial. And should the matter not be settled before the taking of the necessary mediation steps, it is to be remembered that this is an additional cost to the litigation process, and the cost may vary.
All right, short and sweet. Thank you so much to you, Nirvana Nothnagel, Associate Attorney at Hahn Hahn, for this week's Legal Talk. We'll chat again soon, Nirvana. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ian. It's always a pleasure.
Are you or your business in trouble and struggling to find a solution? Call Hahn Hahn Attorneys as we assist clients in finding solutions. We specialize in consumer and food law, commercial and construction law, forensic investigations, and administrative law. Visit hahnlaw.co.za. That's HAHN. We assist clients nationwide. Hahn Hahn Attorneys, because we care. Don't miss Legal Talk with Hahn Hahn Attorneys, Wednesday mornings at 10 on eRadio.